2023 will be a very important year for PlayStation 5, says Sony. They just confirmed at CES that the console now sold 30 million units and that it should be way easier to get from this point forward. And it also means that Sony now has an extra good incentive to push the platform and reveal new games, as people can finally go out and buy the machine, with even a new variant of the hardware incoming this year. So I want to look at everything we can expect from PlayStation in 2023, from the big exclusives and third-party titles that will release to big new projects that will finally be revealed. I'm going over their strategy for the new year and way more. So of course, if you are curious and excited for the future of PlayStation, then leaving a like would really show your support. Subscribe for way more videos like this, and let's go. Sony has many new tactics rolling out this year, which I will touch on, but one of the focus points will of course still be big new games, and they already secured many exclusives for 2023. With many from Square Enix, starting with the new IP Forspoken on January 24th, about a lady from New York getting sucked into a fantasy land, but lucky for her, she does get magical powers to destroy the many creatures. It's an open world game with a big focus on movement, and I still have my fingers crossed that this turns out well. We got New Game Plus for God of War Ragnarok coming in spring 2023, likely around the end of March, followed by the Burning Shores expansion for Horizon 2 on April 19th. I like the fact that it takes place after the ending of Forbidden West instead of before, like we saw with Frozen Wilds for Zero Dawn, and I'm curious if they can maybe apply some of the feedback on Forbidden West, maybe make it less of a typical open world experience and hopefully give some cool twist to the genre. Final Fantasy 16 will be the big summer exclusive, and it won't be open world, by the way, because they did not want to limit themselves to just one big open space, but go for a lot of different regions instead. So these different areas should still be open, but not directly connected, as we see in other open world games, to give more of a global feeling that we're in like a lot of different parts of a huge world. If you watch the trailer, then you know that they are pure hype, they show a massive skill, and it should also really showcase the power of the PS5. So I'm looking forward to June 22nd. And if we're lucky, we might also get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Part 2 of the full remake at the end of 2023, although that can slip to early 2024 as well. But I just finished Crisis Core. Really can't wait to continue the story. Stellar Blade, a Korean action RPG, is also one to keep an eye on. It gives some DMC vibes, looks pretty solid, should drop in 2023. But I'm of course mostly looking forward to Spiderman 2, and I'm sure we will see way more than this teaser trailer we've watched many times in the coming months before the fall 2023 release. Like, this will be another big year for PlayStation 5 exclusives next to the massive third-party lineup that is dropping every month, with highlights including the Dead Space remake, Hogwarts Legacy, Atomic Hearts, really hope that this turns out well, Jedi Survivor, the sequel of course to Fallen Order, and Fallen Order, that first game, is now downloadable if you have the basic PlayStation Plus, so totally get it and play it if you haven't already. The Resident Evil 4 remake is coming in March. I'm really looking forward to the Suicide Squad game, the first new title from Rocksteady after Batman Arkham Knight in 2015. Diablo 4 will of course be huge, and I think it's worth noting that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is also slated for 2023 and has a PlayStation partnership, so might get some exclusive content like we're also seeing in Hogwarts Legacy. But as you might know, there are way more big releases planned for 2023, and I went in depth on those in a video that I will link to in the video description, and the best part is that more titles will be announced and come out in 2023. Like, again, it's going to be a huge year for the PS5. Sony wants to sell another 30 million units in the time between April 2023 and March 2024, and a brand new PS5 with a detachable disc drive should help with that. So according to rumors, this will overtake both models that we have right now, so that there will only be one version without a disc drive, but you can then choose to buy a separate extension, which will then allow you to put Blu-rays in the device. So this should mean that there will just be one PS5 moving forward that might be $400, like the digital version is right now, but they can choose to pay extra for the disc drive. It should be announced soon and could be really huge. And then it's good to have a promising looking lineup, but right now beyond Spiderman we only know about Wolverine, so that's why I think we will see many new games being revealed in 2023 for the years ahead. So let's go over these reveals, starting with The Last of Us, because Naughty Dog just put up a blog post in which they are reflecting on a big year to come for the series. We know the TV show is dropping January 15th, and that should make more people interested in the first game, so maybe we see a huge sales bump. Part 1 is also coming to PC on March 3rd, but the more interesting bits from the article are regarding the Last of Us multiplayer game. We get new details later this year, and it's shaping up to be a fresh new experience from our studio, but one rooted in Naughty Dog's passion for delivering incredible stories, characters and gameplay. We got new concept art as well with a huge cruise ship. We of course saw a ship in part 2 that we could explore as well, so maybe it will be similar but way bigger of course, and we previously knew that this multiplayer game is set in San Francisco. Would be awesome if we got like a beta at the end of the year, but a trailer and gameplay at least seems to be a lock-in. I also found this interesting, so even as the series turns 10 years old, it feels like The Last of Us has only just begun, and this busy year will certainly show why. Like the rumor now is that Neil Druckmann's next game is not a new IP, but The Last of Us Part 3 instead, with him hinting at the fact that there's more story to tell very recently, and earlier he already noted that the story outline was already written. I would have loved a new IP, but seems that we're getting Last of Us 3 first, and if that's true, I can already see them tease it this year, as we also had the teaser for Part 2 3 years after the original came out, so we're on the same timeline, and it would of course be a huge way to end this massive year for the series. And what we're seeing with The Last of Us, this cross-media, cross-genre tactic, is something we will see for many other Sony properties. Even older ones are brought back, like Twisted Metal is getting a Peacock TV series that has wrapped up filming in August 2022, so should be coming out this year, which also means that it's time to reveal and ideally launch the new game based on Twisted Metal, codenamed Red Star. This should be in development at Firesprite, with Destruction All-Stars developers helping on the game. Yes, that title was totally a flop, but they also had a lot of learnings to hopefully make this a success. We just got a first look at the Gran Turismo movie that is dropping August 11th, and Sony of course hopes that this will steer more people towards GT7 that is still being supported. And during CES they also confirmed a free PSVR 2 update at the launch of the hardware on February 22nd. Like Sony will of course kick off the year with the release of the headset and Horizon Call of the Mountain as the flagship title. Like for me, that's already enough reason to want to get the hardware. I've also been a fan of my Oculus Quest, but I do think it will be hard to make this a success. $600 on top of the PS5 is also a hard sell. And right now, next to Horizon, and there's also this Until Dawn Rush of Blood-like game, but then set in the Dark Pictures universe. Apart from that, their titles are mostly ports. So I hope Sony puts enough resources behind it, but I don't think it will happen. Now the focus for 2023 is on those big single player exclusives I already discussed, rolling out the TV and movie productions to get more people interested in the Sony franchises, and also releasing more multiplayer games. So these can be completely new, we'll touch on those in a second, or based on existing IPs like we're seeing with The Last of Us Ghost of Tsushima Legends that will get a big sequel, and now Guerrilla Games also confirmed that a new internal team is developing a separate online project set in Horizon's universe. With the early Zero Dawn concept art likely giving us an idea of what it will look like, also high chance that they announce it in 2023, as Simon LaRouche has been working on it for 5 years now, which is almost as much as the original Horizon, which was in the works for 6 years. So this could be huge, with the launch planned for PS5 and PC at the same time. Now another game that I'm curious about is from Sony London, the team that most recently did Blood and Truth in 2019 for PSVR, but now they're making a PS5 exclusive online co-op combat game set in a modern fantasy London, as we see in the first art they shared. Should have a big focus on magic combat, and I think it looks promising, but this does show that a VR studio is not working on PSVR 2, but on Sony's live service initiative instead. We also know that Helldivers 2 is coming. It won't be top down, as a Sony developer who also helped studio Arrowhead Games leaked, saying that it's a next generation third person cooperative shooter with next generation graphics, innovative co-op, and agency for the community to alter the course of the game. Has been in the works for many years, so I think they will release it in 2023. And by the way, pretty wild, this same person also leaked the release year for Death Stranding 2, which seems to be 2024, so don't expect it this year, although I'm sure we will get another trailer, and we see an upcoming first person shooter, which is likely the one that Sony has in development with Deviation Games from ex-Call of Duty developers that also seems to be planned for 2024. Like, we can expect a big Sony showcase in 2023 to reveal all those 2024 and beyond games. Blue Point will also probably be there because they usually launch something new every 2 to 3 years. And their holiday card was also teasing something new. We see the shield from the Demon's Souls remake, their most recent project at the end of 2020, the axe from God of War Ragnarok as they helped Sony Santa Monica, and the sword from the Shadow of the Colossus remake they did 2 years before Demon's Souls. But yeah, we also see that closed present, so that's likely their next project, which I think we will see this year. It's also time to see the new game from the Days Gone developers they've now been working on for almost 4 years, and in the summer of 2023 it would be 3 years since Ghost of Tsushima. So I also think we will see Ghost of Tsushima 2. Went more in depth on those titles and other big games that will likely be revealed in 2023, including GTA 6, in a previous video that I will link to in a second. Of course, I'm curious to hear what you're looking forward to from Sony in 2023. Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for coverage on all the big games that I talked about here. A like on the video would really help me out. And you can watch that video on big things that will be revealed in 2023, so big third-party games, by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.